I'm gonna put it in both ears, but let me know if it sounds good. I'm thinking about buying a second one so it can be, I don't want to use the term binaural because I don't know what I'm talking about, but it'll be in both ears. That way I can have a left and a right, and it'll be equal and great. You know, that good stuff. So, yeah, that's alright. I don't know if this is gonna sound good again, so I'm sorry if it's not awesome, but I'll do my best to make it so. We're gonna talk a little bit about philosophy. I don't know if you know any famous philosophers, but one of my all-time favorite philosophers is named Alan Watts. So this man has just an amazing outlook on everything. Like, just how he views the world. Sorry, I'm getting worked up. How he views the world is amazing. It's insane. It's great. I love it. I want to paraphrase. He gave a speech, and it's a story about the Chinese farmer. I don't know if you've heard it, but so again, this is Alan Watts. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer. A nice little farm. Did a lot of work. He raised horses. Well, he had a favorite horse. One of his top horses. And one day, this horse ran away. Terrible. That evening, all his neighbors came around to commiserate, and they said, "We are so sorry to hear about your horse. We're sorry to hear that it ran away. It's unfortunate." Well, the farmer looked at the neighbors and said, "Maybe." Well, the next day, that horse came back. And it wasn't alone. That horse brought 7 wild horses with it. 7 more horses. And in the evening, everybody came back. All the neighbors came back and said, "You're so lucky. Look at that. That's amazing. What a great turn of events. You have 8 horses now." The farmer said, "Maybe." My hair's getting in the mic. Did you like that? Is that good? Stay tuned for hair ASMR. The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, get it ready for use on the farm. And while riding it, he was thrown off and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad. It's a shame. We're sorry to hear about your son." Well, the farmer responded, "Maybe." The very next day, the conscription officers came around to conscript people into the war, and they rejected the farmer's son because he had a broken leg. All the neighbors came around again and said, "Isn't that wonderful? Your son doesn't have to fight in the war." And he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know the consequence of misfortune, and you never know is not real. He also likes to talk about we seldom realize, for example, that our most private thoughts and emotions are not actually our own, for we think in terms of languages and images which we did not invent, but which were given to us by our society. Essentially, you were raised into thinking you had to do things a certain way. For instance, where I'm from, people thought they had to grow up, get married, have children, buy a house. That was the dream. And a lot of them have followed that dream. And I worry that they never stop to ask, is this right for me? Or does this just feel like what I should be doing right now? Not saying anything is wrong with that. I want people to know that there's a choice. That you don't just have to follow blindly what everyone says you should be. That you can make those decisions for yourself. The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it. Move with it. And join the dance. We're all afraid of change. It's foreign to us. It's natural. We shouldn't be afraid of it. I don't remember who said this. This was a quote. True change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. I heard that like 4 years ago. I don't remember who said it. You can look it up and tell me, because, yeah. But just do the crazy things. If you're watching this and you haven't turned it off yet, I assume that means you have at least some sort of interest in what I'm saying, or you're tired, either one. But just wake up, start living for yourself is what I want you to get out of this, and me too. Like, I'm telling myself this just as much as you all. This is like my own accountability system. But we are capable of so much. But me personally, I talk myself down in my head all the time, and it's so detrimental. So bad. And, I need to get better with that. So let's, between us, let's make it happen, My sophomore year of college, I actually gave a speech on one of Alan Watts' speeches, and it was something called The Real You. And my favorite part of this was, he says, pose the question, what would it be like to go to sleep and never wake up? And when you really think about it, kids think about this. Children think about it, or I did when I was young, but what would it be like to go to sleep and never wake up? It starts to pose another question. What would it be like to wake up after never having gone to sleep? And that was when you were born. He talks about how people are afraid of when they die that they're going to be locked up in this dark room forever. But he says it's not possible, because nature abhors a vacuum. You're not going to have to put up with everlasting non-existence, because that's not an experience. I think there can be the same sort of experience that happened when you were born. It gets into